Welcome back to another session on time domain analysis. Today we are going to discuss some numerical based on zeros, pole map and stability of a system. Let us start with our first numerical. The first numerical statement is the open loop transfer function of a second order system is given by the transfer function of a system is given 0.5s plus 2 over s square plus 0.5s plus 2. Estimate 1. Location of a 0 on S plane, location of a pole on S plane, comment on the stability of a system, and fourth one is a damping factor or a damping ratio. Also, plot a performance of a system in a time domain representing all values of unit step inputs. So in this numerical, the transfer function of a second order system is given, which has a denominator and numerator polynomial equations, and for this transfer function we have to find first zeros and the poles, and we have to locate this on S plane, and we have to comment on the stability of a system, and also we have to determine the damping factor or damping ratio, and after this we are going to plot a performance characteristics in a time domain for a given second order system. So let us start with our discussion. The open loop transfer function of a second order system is given by 0.5 s plus 2 s square plus 0.5 s plus 2. Now let us find a zeros of a transfer function. We know that the zeros are the roots of a polynomial which is at numerator. So if you are equating this numerator equation with equal to 0, then you will get the roots of a polynomials and are called as zeros of a transfer function. Let us find that. So zeros of the systems are the roots of a numerator polynomials of a transfer function. So for this transfer function, the roots of a numerator polynomials are called as the zeros. So to obtain the roots, we are equating numerator polynomial equation to the 0, and after equating you will get 0.5s plus 2 is equal to 0, and if you are simplifying this for s, so what we are having, s is equal to minus 2 over 0.5. If you solve this equation, you will get the 0 or the root of a transfer function is equal to s is equal to minus 4. Since this polynomial equation at a numerator is having first order equation, so we are having only one root, and that one root is called as a zeros. So this is our first answer. Okay. Now to find a poles of a transfer function, the poles of a systems are a roots of a denominator polynomials of a transfer function. So this is the transfer function, and the roots of a denominator polynomials are called as poles of transfer function. To obtain the roots, we are equating denominator polynomial equation to the 0. So if you are equating s square plus 0.5 s plus 2 is equal to 0, that gives us the root. If you are solving this second order polynomial equation or the quadratic equation, you will get a 2 roots since the power is 2. So s12 is equal to minus 0.25 plus or minus 1.392j. So this is the complex conjugate number, and it has a 2 roots since it is a quadratic equation. So if you are comparing these roots with a standard form of a root that we discussed in the last session, s12 is equal to minus zeta omega plus or minus omega d j. So if you are comparing with this, easily you can understand the value of zeta omega is equal to 0.25 and omega d is equal to 1.39. So wherein omega d is equal to omega in under root 1 minus zeta squared. So you can compare this equation with a standard form, and thus we can get some parameters, and from which we can determine either omega n, zeta, omega d. Now let us find the poles or the roots of a transfer function. The first pole is s1 is equal to, since there is a plus or minus, so 2 poles are there, s1 is equal to minus 0.25 plus 1.392j, and second pole is s2 is equal to minus 0.25 minus 1.392j. These are the 2 poles of the given characteristic equation. Now let us locate the poles and zeros in S plane. So this is the S plane. Basically, as we discussed earlier, the S plane has a 2 axes which are mutually perpendicular. The horizontal axis is the sigma, and vertical axis is the imaginary axis or j omega axis. So sigma is the real part and j omega is imaginary part, and sigma may be positive or negative. If it is a positive, then the system becomes unstable. If it is a negative, system becomes stable. So right hand half part of S plane is with a positive real part, or a left hand half plane is with a negative sigma value. Similarly, you can find for j omega plus, and here it is a minus. Just do hand correction here, instead of a plus it should be minus j omega in downward side. Then we have divided a negative side into equal division so that we can plot zeros of a transfer function. So zeros of a transfer function is minus 4. So let us assume that is a 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the minus 4. So here we are going to locate the 0. Zeros are represented by hollow circle. So we are going to represent a 0 s is equal to minus 4 with a hollow circle. Next, we got poles of a transfer function. The first pole is s1 is equal to minus 0.25 plus 1.392j. So poles are generally represented by a cross in this S-plane diagram. So the first pole has a real part, this is minus 0.25. So on real axis we will take minus 0.25. So this is minus 0.25. And on j omega axis we will take plus 1.392j. So on this axis we will take 1.39. And this gives us the first pole S1 is equal to minus 0.25 plus 1.392j. Similarly, we can find a mirror image of this pole on a negative side. So second pole is S2 is equal to minus 0.25 minus 1.392j. So to locate, we'll just try to locate first real part, that is a minus 0.25. So this is minus 0.25, and on a negative j omega axis is a minus 1.392j. So here we are located. So this is the second pole. So S2 is minus 0.25 minus 1.392j. This is the second pole located. We can observe here the location of our poles are lying on left and half plane and are complex in a nature. So we can say that the response of the system is underdamped or a transient response. So we can plot that response. The first we will have a remark on S plane pole location and 0 location. Since the pole lies on left and half plane, the system is stable. Okay, this is the comment on the stability, and that can be decided by the location of a poles. Since the poles lies on left and half plane on the negative side of a sigma, the system is stable. Second part is nature of response for step input. So response of the system is transient as the poles are complex conjugate. Okay, so you can see that it's a minus 0.25 plus 1.392j. So this is complex conjugate number and symmetric about sigma axis. So response of a system is transient response. Next, to determine the damping factor or a damping ratio, the open loop transfer function of a given second order system is given by 0.5s plus 2 over s square plus 0.5s plus 2. Now generalized form of a transfer function, as we learned in the last session, for a second order system is given by k dash into omega n square over s square plus 2 zeta omega n into s plus omega n square. So this is the generalized form of any second order system. We are comparing the denominator polynomial of a transfer function of a system with a standard form of transfer function of second order system, denominator of a standard form. So if we are comparing these two denominators, so we will get comparing these two polynomial equation, omega n square is equal to 2 and 2 zeta omega n is equal to 0.5. So these are the two values we are getting by comparing with a standard form of transfer function for second order system. Now from this equation we will get natural frequency omega n is equal to, so we will get omega n is equal to 1.414 radian per second. So this is the natural frequency of oscillations. Therefore the damping factor or the damping ratio zeta can be determined from the second finding after comparison, that is 2 zeta omega n is equal to 0.5. From here, since we know that omega n value from previous calculation, so we can find zeta is equal to 0.177, and you can observe that this zeta value is a less than 1. So if it is a less than 1, we can conclude the discussion that damping factor is a less than 1. So system response is a transient or underdamped. This is the second check what we are having from the previous check. That is, the first check is roots of a denominator polynomial equation, that is the characteristic equations. If it is complex conjugate, this is the one indication that gives us the response of a system is transient or underdamped. And second is we got zeta value is less than 1, that means what, the system response is transient and underdamped. If you are plotting a time domain performance for a step input function, so this is underdamped system. Okay, most of the times in examination there will be a question, you have to plot the response of system. Okay, these are the two indicators that we learn. From that two indicator you will come to know that the response of a system is transient response, and if it is transient response you have to draw a time domain performance of your system like this way. Okay, on y axis there is amplitude, on x axis there is a time, so it's a time response of your system. So in examination you have to plot this. The magnitude does not matter in examination, since the nature they are expecting, so we have to plot a nature for unit step function. Okay, that is the response. So next numerical on time domain analysis. In time domain analysis, we are just trying to determine the specification of performance of a system for step input, just like in percentage overshoot, rise time, peak time, or settling time, or steady state error, okay, delay time. All these performance specifications we are going to determine in the next few numericals. So we'll start our discussion for a specification of time performance. So the first numerical, the open loop transfer function of a given system is 344 over s square plus 25s plus 344. Estimate the damping factor or a damping ratio. Second, percentage of overshoot. Third, peak time. Fourth, rise time. Fifth, settling time for 2% as well as 5% criteria. Also plot the performance of a system in time domain representing all values for unit step inputs. So let us start solving this numerical for a damping factor or a damping ratio. Open loop transfer function is given for a given system. It is 344 over s square plus 25s plus 344. If you are comparing a denominator polynomial with a standard form, omega n square is equal to 344 and 2 zeta omega n is equal to 25. So we can determine natural frequency omega n square is equal to 344 from this comparison. So if you solve this, omega n is equal to 18.55 radian per second. So this is the natural frequency of oscillation, and damping factor or a damping ratio can be determined from the second relation, 2 zeta omega n is equal to 25. So 2 zeta omega n is equal to 25. If you solve this for a zeta, zeta will be equal to 0.674. This zeta value is less than 1. So that does mean the damping factor is less than 1. A system response is a transient or underdamped response. Then we can plot a transient response of a system for unit step function, just like what we discussed in a previous numerical. Now the most important part, we are going to determine the specification of performance in a time domain of a system. The first is a percentage overshoot, which is represented by MP. MP is the magnitude of overshoot, and if you are calculating in the percentage, we'll get the percentage overshoot. To find out percentage overshoot, we got two formulas. The first formula, percentage of overshoot is equal to e raised to minus pi zeta over under root 1 minus zeta square into 100, since we are calculating this into percentage. If you are not multiplying by 100, the factor which is in a bracket gives us the magnitude of overshoot, okay, and if you are multiplying by 100, that gives us the percentage overshoot. And second formula, percentage of overshoot is equal to C max minus C final over C final into 100. But in this numerical, what we know is a zeta value from previous calculation. So we'll proceed with this formula. So damping factor for a given system is 0.674. Percentage overshoot is equal to e raised to minus pi zeta over under root 1 minus zeta square into 100. So if you are substituting zeta value in this relation, what we'll get, the percentage overshoot MP approximately equal to 5.699%. So it's very important what are the formula we are going to use as an empirical formula to determine the specifications are approximate values. What are the value we are calculating here are the approximate values, but most closely related to the actual values. So we got percentage overshoot MP is equal to approximately 5.699%. Next is the peak time. Now we know that the peak time is the time where the first overshoot occurs. That can be determined by using this formula. Peak time is equal to TP is equal to pi by omega d. Omega d is nothing but damped natural frequency, can be determined. Omega d is equal to omega n under root 1 minus zeta square, where omega n is natural frequency and zeta is a damping factor. So we already calculated omega n and zeta, thus we can get the omega d value and we can substitute in this formula, we'll get the peak time. So substituting zeta and omega n value in this formula, we'll get the omega d, and from this formula we can calculate peak time. A peak time for given system TP is equal to approximately 0.229 seconds. Rise time TR. Rise time determined approximately pi minus beta over omega d. Generally this formula is recommended for a large overshoot. In case of a moderate overshoot, we can use approximate formula pi upon 2 omega d. Rise time is given by pi minus beta over omega d. Omega d is equal to omega n under root 1 minus zeta square, and beta is the phase angle is given by tan inverse of under root 1 minus zeta square over zeta. When we are calculating beta value, you will get this beta value in terms of degrees, and when you are substituting this beta value in this formula, we have to convert this beta value into radian. That means what, in this formula when you are substituting beta value should be substituted as a radian after converting that degree into radian. The most of times we used to make a mistake while substituting beta value, and that's why the rise time will get something different. We know that zeta value and omega n value, so we'll find omega d value, and also we'll get the beta value in degree, and that beta value which is in degree we have to convert into radian and substitute in rise time formula. then rise time will be equal to approximately 0.168 second. Generally, this formula is recommended for a large overshoot. In case of a moderate overshoot, we can use approximate formula pi over 2 omega d. So just try it out, you will get the approximate similar value to 0.1. Next, settling time, TS. So there are two types of a settling time. One is for 2% criteria and second is for 5% criteria. So we'll first find for 2% criteria. So settling time TS is given 4 upon zeta omega for 2% criteria. Damping factor or a damping ratio zeta and natural frequency we already calculated. So these are 0.674 and omega n is equal to 18.55 radian per second. So from here we will get the settling time. Settling time after substituting, we will get the settling time is equal to 0.3199 second approximately. This is for 2% criteria. Settling time for 5% criteria, the formula is 3 upon zeta omega n for 5% criteria. It's a very important, students. Once again, whenever we are solving such numericals, it is expected you have to carefully determine zeta value and omega n value, because most of our formulas we require to substitute zeta and omega n values. So every time when we are calculating rise time, settling time or percentage overshoot, we require zeta and omega n values. So therefore we can determine settling time for, just do one correction here, it's a 5%. For 5% settling time 3 upon zeta omega n. After substituting all this value, you will get settling time TS approximately is equal to 0.2399 second. You can see that for 5% you are having a lesser time as compared to 2%. Next we have to represent a transient response for a unit step function with all its values of a performance specifications. Let us represent in the transient response one by one. The first, the percentage overshoot MP is equal to 5.699%. This is the value of percentage overshoot. 2 is the final value. Next is the peak time. Peak time is the time where the first maximum overshoot occurs. So this is the value which we are measuring from 0 on a time axis. This gives us a 0.229 second. Next is the rise time. Rise time is the time that is required or given by the response to rise from 10% to the 90%. So between 10% to the 90% rise, the time we have measured, that is 0.168 seconds. Next, settling time for a 2%, it is TS, approximately is equal to 0.3199 seconds. And next is for 5%, it is TS, approximately is equal to 0.2399 seconds. So you can see here, for 2% to settle down, it requires more time as compared to the 5%. You can see the tolerance band for 5% and 2%. So 2% tolerance band is a narrow and larger tolerance band we have for 5%. So that's why there is a time difference. Next numerical, the open loop transfer function of a system with a unity feedback gain. Carefully now, this is somewhat different numerical, students. Open loop transfer function of a system with a unity feedback gain is given by, so transfer function of a system with a unity feedback. Okay, so we have to simplify this by considering the unity feedback, and then we have to solve this numerical for damping factor or damping ratio, percentage of overshoot, peak time, rise time, and also we have to plot the performance system in time domain representing all values for unit step function. They are saying that represent all values, that means the values that we are calculating for percentage overshoot, peak time, rise time, all this value we have to show in a time domain plot. Okay, if it is a underdamp or transient response, in that transient response we have to locate that rise time, settling time, and with this value we have to project to time plot. Okay, so let us proceed. It's a special case. First of all, we are going to prepare a unity feedback system. So this is a transfer function of a system with a unity feedback. Okay, let us assume that input is a step function 1 upon s and cs is the output. So for this kind of numericals, we have to resolve unity feedback, and then we'll get the transfer function, and that transfer function we have to solve by using the earlier discussion. So let us obtain a transfer function with a unity feedback. So transfer function of unity feedback is given by, we know that formula, transfer function is equal to gs upon 1 plus gs. So this is the gs. We'll substitute gs value in this equation and simplify this. So 20 over s square plus 5s plus 6 over 1 plus 20 over s square plus 5s plus 6. If you simplify this, you will get a transfer function with a unity feedback is a 20 over s square plus 5s plus 26. Now most of the time students used to take this as a transfer function, and then they used to find out the values like a damping factor, overshoot, rise time, and you will have definitely something different values than they expected. Carefully read the problem statement. Open loop transfer function of a system with a unity feedback, that means for this transfer function you have to solve for unity feedback, and then you can compare the equation or the transfer function that we are having is somewhat different than the given transfer function of a system. Okay, so we'll proceed with this transfer function thereafter. So damping factor and damping ratio, by comparing this transfer function 20 over s square plus 5s plus 26. So this is the transfer function with unity feedback that we are comparing with the standard form. Then we will get omega n square is equal to 26 and 2 zeta omega n is equal to 5. And if you solve these equations, you will get omega n square is equal to 26, so natural frequency is equal to 5.099 radian per second, and 2 zeta omega n is equal to 5, so zeta value is equal to 0.49, which is less than 1. So response of a system is transient or underdamped. So we plotted this response. So percentage of overshoot, that values we have to represent in the time domain response. So percentage of overshoot is given by e raised to minus pi zeta over under root 1 minus zeta square into 100, and second C max minus C final over C final into 100. So these values are not available, so what we are having is zeta value, so we can use zeta is equal to 0.49. So percentage of overshoot, after substituting all these values in this formula, percentage of overshoot is equal to MP, approximately 17.12%. Peak time is given by formula pi upon omega d. Omega d is equal to omega n under root 1 minus zeta square. Since we are having zeta value and omega n value, so we can substitute in this formula. We will get a peak time Tp is equal to approximately 0.706 seconds. Rise time, you can apply instead of pi minus beta over omega d, you can use approximate empirical formula pi over 2 omega d. Gives the most closest value with a MATLAB result. Okay, but still you can use this formula which gives a little bit larger value. So rise time is equal to pi minus beta over omega d, where omega d is equal to omega n under root 1 minus zeta square, and beta is the phase angle which is given by tan inverse of under root 1 minus zeta square over zeta. Since we have zeta and omega n value, we will substitute zeta and omega n value in this relation to getting damped natural frequency as well as the phase angle beta. If you substitute the values of omega d and the beta phase angle in the formula of a rise time pi minus beta over omega d, then you will have 3.14 minus 1.058. So carefully you have to substitute this value. This value basically when you are calculating by using the beta formula, it will be in a degree. You have to convert this phase angle into the radian, and then we have to substitute in this equation. Okay, so here a tan inverse in square bracket under root 1 minus zeta square over zeta gives us degree value, and you have to convert this degree value into radian, and then you will get 1.058 value. So the most of times we used to make the mistake over here while substituting the value of beta. Now after having a calculation, we will get rise time TR is equal to approximately is equal to 0.468 second, and this is the answer. You can have the same answer by using another formula as we discussed. So rise time can be determined by using pi over 2 into omega d. So any of this formula can be used. If it is possible, you can solve by using both this formula. Now here to represent the specification of performance in a time domain, here the response is a transient as we discussed earlier. So one by one we will represent the specification with their values. The first is the percentage of overshoot MP. It is a 17.12%. So this is the percentage maximum overshoot for a transient response. Next is the peak time. Tp is equal to 0.706 seconds. Next is the rise time. It's a 0.468. The time between 10% to 90% rise is a rise time. So all these values we are representing in a time response plot. Next, in next numerical, the closed loop transfer function is given. It's a standard form. The transfer function is omega n square over s square plus 2 zeta omega n s plus omega n square. Determine the value of zeta and omega n so that the system responds to a step input with approximately 5% overshoot and with a settling time of a 2 seconds for a 2% criteria. Now we know that in this numerical, the percentage overshoot given and the settling time for 2% criteria is given, and they are asking us to determine zeta and omega n value. In other words, they are asking us to derive the transfer function for a second order system in this format. So by knowing zeta and omega n value, we can write a transfer function for a system so that the system will give the 5% overshoot and will settle down in a 2 second approximately for a 2% criteria. So we know that the percentage overshoot is given in this numerical is a 5%. Formula to calculate the percentage of overshoot is equal to e raised to minus pi zeta over under root 1 minus zeta square into 100. So percentage of overshoot is given 5%. So we can write, so in a percentage 0.05 is equal to e raised to minus pi zeta over under root 1 minus zeta square. So what we have done here, we have taken a natural logarithm on both sides of equality. So thereafter we can have damping factor is equal to 0.689. This is our first answer. Second is to determine the natural frequency. To get the natural frequency, we are having a settling time for 2% is 2 seconds. So settling time for a 2 second is 4 upon zeta omega. Settling time is given 2 seconds is equal to 4 upon zeta omega, wherein zeta value is known to us. So we can calculate omega. Omega n is equal to 4 upon 2 into zeta. Zeta is equal to 0.689. So we'll substitute in this equation. We'll get the natural frequency omega n is equal to 2.90 radian per second. This is our second equation. The most important, by knowing zeta and omega n value, we have to write a transfer function for a second order system. Natural frequency value is known to us, so we'll take a square of omega n. It is 8.41. Zeta value is 0.689 and omega n value is 2.90. If you substitute in this equation, you will get 3.99s plus omega n square is equal to 8.41. So by substituting all this value, you will get the transfer function of second order system 8.41 over a square plus 399s plus 8.41. Now next, example 7. This is the homework example. In this numerical, for a given system, we have to determine J. J is the polar moment of inertia of a cylindrical body which is subjected to the torque T having angular displacement in the direction of torque T. And D is the damping coefficient. It's a torsional damping coefficient since the system is a torsional or the rotational system. So that to yield 20% of overshoot and a settling time of a 2 seconds for a 2% criteria for a given step input function, that is a torque. Let's try to understand how to determine the value of J and D for a given system. So this system is a torsional system or a rotational system which has inertial body, cylindrical mass of mass moment of inertia J, a torsional stiffness K. How do you come to know that it's a torsional stiffness? If you just carefully observe the unit of K, if it is a linear, it has to be Newton per meter, but for a torsional, force over displacement, the force is torque and the displacement is angular displacement. So unit is Newton meter per radian, so hence it is torsional spring. So similarly we got a torsional damper and that is being represented by D. So all this system is nothing but a torsional system or a rotational system. The most important part in this numerical to get the transfer function. Once you are having a transfer function in terms of a J, D and K, then we'll substitute the known values like in K, and by comparing with a standard form of transfer function for second order systems, we may get a relation between zeta omega n, and we got percentage of overshoot. From this percentage of overshoot, we'll get a damping factor, and from settling time we'll get natural frequency. So all this value will correlate and we'll get this desired value of J and D. Now to understand how to get a transfer function, I recommend to refer the video of time domain analysis part 6 for specifically for rotational system. Part 6 we have discussed for a circular disc which is subjected to the rotational motion about its axis. Elastic shaft was used. Now that is equivalent to the torsional spring, and there was some viscous support resistance. Now instead of that, what we are having dashpot here in a torsional direction. So that is the only correlation between the numerical that we solved in part 6 and here itself. So otherwise, surprisingly, you will get the same transfer function what we discussed for a rotational system in part 6 and for this system. So try it out and send the solution on Google Classroom. Next numerical, again we have to take this for homework. In this numerical, a second order system has a natural frequency of oscillation omega n is equal to 2.5 radian per second. Damped natural frequency of oscillation omega d is equal to 2 radian per second. So two natural frequencies are given and they are asking us to calculate the damping factor zeta. So we know the relation between a damped natural frequency. Just do hand correction, it's not an undamped, it is a damped natural frequency. Do hand correction in the problem statement. Omega d is a damped natural frequency of oscillation. So we know the relation omega d is equal to omega n under root 1 minus zeta square. So substitute the omega d value, omega n value, you'll get the unknown zeta, so you'll get the damping factor from that relation. Once we know the damping factor, we can find out other parameter which are dependent on the zeta value, just like in percentage of overshoot. We know that the percentage of overshoot is equal to e raised to minus pi zeta over under root 1 minus zeta square. So all these parameters are in terms of zeta into 100, okay, since it is asked in a percentage when it is subjected to the step input. So this numerical is very easy, so you can solve this numerical. You have to submit the solution of example 7 and example 8 on Google Classroom that we have created. Thank you.